Hello, everyone. Welcome to the MIT Museum. Welcome to the Ig Nobel Face-to-Face event. We're celebrating the winners of the 2025 Ig Nobel Prizes. Each of them has done something that makes people laugh and then think. And they've all traveled long distances at their own expense to come be with us today. The ceremony was 2 nights ago. You may have seen it. And this is the chance for the winners to get to talk to each other. So what's going to happen here, and it's the only thing that's going to happen here, is the winners will get to ask each other about their work. And if we can manage the timing, you'll get to ask them some questions. We are going to have 2 sessions. Each will be a half-hour long. We'll pause for just a few moments between the 2 sessions with different winners each time. We have a different person who will be moderating. This is Karen Hopkin, who will introduce herself and then introduce the others, and then we'll begin. There is a timing device. You'll see how that works as it comes into play. My name, by the way, is Mark Abrams. I'm the founder of the Ig Nobel Prize ceremony and editor of a magazine called The Annals of Improbable Research. And now, let's begin. Karen?
Thank you. Thank you, Shmupi. Okay, strap in. So I'm Karen Hopkin. I actually trained as a biochemist, and then something happened. And I'm now a science writer. I work on textbooks a lot. I'm one of the authors of a textbook called Essential Cell Biology. And I have been involved with the Ig since the very first annual Ig Nobel Prize ceremony, at which time my role, as described to me and is probably written down on a piece of paper, was angry young woman in a red dress. And it was held at the very first one was at the MIT Museum. And okay, all right. So moving on. I'm seeing bananas. Okay, so I'm going to introduce each individual, and then they're going to speak about their work for a minute. So to my right is Giacomo Bartolucci, and he and his team won the Physics Prize for their discoveries about the physics of pasta sauce, especially the phase transition that can lead to clumping, which can be a cause of unpleasantness. So, Giacomo, if you would tell us a little bit about that work.
So, hi everyone, thank you so much for having us here. So in recent years, the science of protein or biomolecules in solution with water has received a lot of attention because the cell is full of liquid and proteins, because the primordial soup was likely like an aqueous mixture with peptides and so. But for sure, our favorite mixture is like a pasta sauce. We are simple, stereotypical Italians, and then we gathered together, we had big dinners with all of our friends, and we didn't want to waste, actually, the pecorino that you need to mix with cooking, so pasta water, to achieve the salsa of cacio e pepe. And so we teamed up, and we started studying the science behind it, and our friends came and ate all the leftovers.
Primordial soup and pasta sauce. And next to Giacomo, I have Tomoki Kojima, who won the biology prize with his colleagues for their experiments to learn whether cows painted with zebra-like striping can avoid being bitten by flies. So, Tomoki, can you tell us a little bit about the study?
Okay, thank you. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to Professor Caro and Horvath. Their great work gives me the idea of our study. I really appreciate them and their colleagues. And about my works, how it works. The function of zebra stripes has been long debated as far back as the 19th century. by Wallace and Darwin, but it was it has not successfully solved. We hypothesized that cows painted with black and white stripes on their body could avoid biting fly attacks. Our results showed that the number of biting flies and frequency of fly biting behavior reduced. This. Okay, go ahead.
I think I have had this nightmare before. Again, not again. Okay, and at the end of the line down there is Gary Beecham, and he won the Pediatrics Prize with his colleague Julie Manella, who I believe will speak in the second session, for their studying of what a nursing baby experiences when the baby's mother eats garlic. So Gary, if you want to tell us, well, you know how much you can say about it.
Well, first thing I'll say is it's always difficult when the collaborator is in the audience, since you might be, I might say something wrong. But basically, I was interested in imprinting from a very long time, and imprinting in flavors. How do we come to like flavors? And when Julie joined me as a postdoc in 1990 or 1989, I can't remember which, I set her to, in discussions, to do a project where we had babies nursing with mothers that consumed garlic and controls, of course, which did not, and demonstrated that garlic is transferred from the mother's eating into the milk, and that influences the babies, who then actually, contrary to people's previous beliefs, seem to like it. And that, I have to say, did not seem funny to me at the time. And it has actually become a 30 or 40-year career. And there's a lot more to it. And it's conceivably very important.
Indeed. Okay. So I happen to know there are some individuals here who are nervous, maybe all of them. I'm going to say, Tomoki, can we start with you? And why don't you ask a question to Giacomo?
My question is, which one?
It has to be about pasta sauce or primordial soup, one or the other.
How many times did you make the sauce through the study, your work?
If somebody from my team wants to help, I'm very happy. I think we did like rounds of 2 kilos of pasta for multiple times for a total of, so, okay, I have to say, first we did experiments on Petri dish, and we, imaged it and segmented all the clumps and stuff. And then we did the thermodynamic limit, so we scaled up the system. And so this was like in batches of 2 kilos. And in total, I think we consumed, I don't know how much kilos of cheese, 20?
Well, during the experiments, at least 3 big batches.
Yeah.
And after the experiments, when everybody asked us to cook it for them, at least 10 more.
And one of us actually took a blood test right after the paper was published, and he was not very happy about the result. Like commitment to science, we did, like.
So yeah, no one forced you to eat your experiments, though.
Say it again?
No one forced you to eat your experiment.
No, no. Actually, we invited friends. And, like we showed them gratitude for supporting us, feeding them with the leftovers. And we didn't want to waste any, we cared about not wasting good cheese.
Did the pasta sauce have garlic?
No.
Were any babies involved? No. Nursing mothers?
No, neither cows. I mean, indirectly.
Well, since we're already going there, how about, Giacomo, why don't you ask Gary a question?
Why would you put garlic sauce in
Why garlic?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a very clear answer for that. This was in the fields of animal behavior where Julie and I both were trained. It was well known that in the milk business, that cows that are living on pastures that have onion, garlic kinds of plants, that the milk smells garlicky or onion-like. And this is actually a commercially important observation. So we knew, we were pretty sure that the garlic would get into milk, and we picked something that was very salient. It's a strong odor. It's made these sulfur odors are very, very potent, and it was something that we were almost positive would get into the milk. We had really no idea what was going to happen with the babies, because the anecdotes were that babies would be rejecting it. And what we found was, of course, the opposite, that they seemed to like it.
And what would happen if the mother eats cacio e pepe then?
Each what?
The cacio e pepe sauce or like pasta? Would something similar apply?
Our presumption is that this is the source of all early food likings and identifications, and it's the most profound sort of learning that goes on that sets the stage for cultural differences and for all of our lives. And another thing, since my job had been running an institute that studies smell and taste, the importance of smell, which people kind of, again, can be a joke, and there's several talks here were about smell, which I thought was remarkable. But smell is an extremely important sense for food recognition, probably, certainly for most species, for sex, and I would argue it's one of the most important of all senses. And the learning about smells is profound because the pathways in the brain are special about compared to vision and hearing and touch, and they go directly to the emotional parts of the brain. And so this is an emotional connection that the baby's making in this very intimate, obviously the most intimate sort of thing in utero, but even the intimate thing in breastfeeding, and that experience is profound and probably lasts forever.
So, Gary's, why don't you ask a question to, if you have a question for Tomoki?
Yeah, I actually do. One of the things that was interesting about this work is the idea that the pattern on the animals is rejected because of something about the visual system of the flies. And I'd like him to explain more about why that is the case and how that works.
You mean the mechanism?
Yes.
Okay. This mechanism is not how can I say it? Not solved. Some hypotheses remain. How can I say it?
You can say you don't know.
Yes, we don't know.
Okay, let me ask another much simpler question. If you used checkerboard instead of stripes, would that work too?
Yes.
So that tells you something about I don't know what it tells you about the mechanism, but it might, I guess.
Sorry.
There might be some cue or clue in that, the fact that it's checkerboard, and you could look at the size of the checks or the size of the stripes, and you know.
You mean the widows?
Yeah. How close together they have to be. Anyway, it seems that there must be some physiology in the insects that is doing this. And here's, to me, the most important question about the stuff you're talking about is, are zebras' stripes due to the fact that it has this effect? In other words, did this protect them during evolution? Did the fact that the striped zebras, or now in your case cows, I don't speak Japanese, unfortunately.
Yeah, so do the stripes help the zebras and
Yeah.
are the
Is
zebras?
that why they're there? Is that why they're there?
Yes, thank you very much. The writing flies best or bring the carry on the virus or disease. So they have a striped coat. This protect them. I
Yeah,
think so.
and so, I mean, just to make up a story, which we all do in evolution, that those zebras that had better stripes or the right kind of stripes were the ones that survived and throughout evolution. And there are other species of animals, even some deer and whatever have stripes as well. And you wonder whether this is a more general function of again, the beauty of evolution. Sorry, I'm sorry.
So, Tomoki, then, do you have a question for Gary, since he's
Since
grilling you here?
Since I'm harassing you.
Okay. I ask.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. Actually, did you taste the milk from mother? This is my daughter's question.
So that is a great question, and I have to tell a story about that because it's before you.
Oh, a story.
Before Julie even came, I had a colleague who was interested in this topic. We never got very far with it, but she had a baby, and she was nursing. And so what she would do is go into the ladies' room, express some breast milk, bring it out for her and me to taste together. And it was one of the strangest things that I've ever done. We never got very far with it, but it turned out that we were not allowed to taste other women's breast milk. But it was for a new supposed
Not even for science?
for medical reasons, because various viruses can be transmitted in human milk, and so this. We had at one point designed an idea experiment where we would have whole bunches of couples, where the mother and the father would be the subjects, and then we could have the father taste the milk. But we never got to that. That's the one thing Julie and I never did.
Well, there's still time.
Nope.
And Gary, do you have a question for Giacomo? Did we do this pairing yet?
Well, I sort of wanted to explore this Giacomo's work, because my daughter-in-law, who we're staying with, says, well, she knows that you always use the water from cooking the pasta. And she gave me some long song and dance about why she did it and what it was. So what is your advance over what my daughter-in-law knows?
Does somebody want to reply? Why do we use pasta water for our experiments? And what's our understanding of why pasta water is important? Take the mic.
Are you like giving them an exam at this point?
I want to, we came here as a group, that's what we do. We all, walk together. And so I want to involve the community.
So, I mean, the idea of using pasta water in the beginning was that pasta cacio e pepe is usually done with pasta water. So you use pasta water to put starch into the sauce and create a smooth consistency of the sauce. In the end, we didn't really use pasta water. We used water and starch, not directly pasta water, since the starch that is contained in pasta water is typically not enough to allow for a smooth consistency unless you control the temperature properly or you do the pasta risottata, that you let the pasta cook in the water so that the water evaporates and the starch concentrates, so that pasta water is not actually a good way to control the amount of starch.
Right, so you wanted to do an experiment you could really control. essentially.
Exactly.
But pasta water still is the right answer for people who are making pasta, is that right?
Nah, not really. I mean, if you're doing pasta for like 3 or 4 people, yes, you can use pasta water to control the temperature. If you look at our recipe, the one in the paper, there is pasta water since, I mean, it's already there, but we actually add starch on top of the starch in the pasta water. So
There is a section in the paper which is actually the scientifically informed recipe for pasta cacio e pepe.
So do you feel that it was the first recipe published by the Physics of Fluids journal?
To my knowledge, yes. But I have to say, Physics of Fluids does a special issue since last year, I think, which is kitchen flows. And this helped us making our idea concrete because we had this dream, but at the beginning it was kind of a meme within us. And then when we saw there was a serious, proper journal that was interested in physics of the kitchen, we got very excited. And at that moment we really started to believe that this was possible, and look at us.
So one other question, sort of related to this, since I did not see your recipe, so did you use olive oil at all in
No.
There's a specialist in olive oil.
No, we don't use it. So in general, I would like to comment on what Daniel said. So pasta water is technically an ingredient of the recipe because in general, pasta water is always used in basically all pasta with sauces in all Italian cooking because it really thickens the sauce, and the sauce then really binds with the pasta so that everything is kind of together. In cacio e pepe, it has this additional role of basically preventing the sauce to clump. And it's also true that lipids may have the same effect, which is, for example, the case of pasta alla gricia, where you add guanciale, which is like a delicious cured meat with a lot of fat, which makes really the cheese more stable. Like putting olive oil would be cheating, and I think we already risked our lives by saying that you can add cornstarch, even though it's chemically the same as the starch in pasta water. Olive oil would be a little bit too much.
So is that why none of you are working in Italy anymore?
Some of us are. Some of us made
Please.
it. But yeah. So and we learned actually during the project. Maybe somebody already knew that chefs do that. So they do add extra cornstarch in powder to the recipe when they want to cook for a large amount of people. Still, even if it's used by Michelin star chefs, we got attacked somehow. That's what happens if you talk about food in Italy.
Were any of your known as collaborators in the project? Did you bring family members in to?
Family member are of course a very important part of this project. They are here, by the way. Like there are like mothers, grandmothers that followed us.
Ciao, mamma.
Exactly. So when we said at the Ig Nobel Prize ceremony, "Ciao, mamma," it was actually true. So they were there in the first line. I mean, it doesn't happen every day that we win like an Ig Nobel Prize, I have to say, and we are so proud. And it was so difficult, to hold it for ourselves.
So, not to, interrupt your adorableness, but did you have another question for Tomoki?
Yes, I wanted to know if you have used also other animals.
I had a plan to apply this stripe to the other animals, but I could not because of it's not so. I had the plan, but I could not. Sorry.
I'd be interested in other organisms could benefit from patterns to defend themselves, no?
I hope.
Or like
I-
they have patterns to defend themselves, like Gary was saying.
Well, we know they can because we saw it the night before last when he was put on his shirt. They avoided him.
It was effective.
So it did work, yes.
Thank you.
So I'm going to open it up to the audience. So if there's anyone who has a question, maybe raise your hand and we'll get a microphone to you. Tomoki, who painted the cows? And did the cows like it? I mean, did the cows, were they upset? Were they embarrassed?
I painted the cow.
Okay, so I think we have someone in the audience who's ready to ask a question. Where are you? Maybe you can stand up or.
My question for Dr. Kojima, I was curious whether this is generalizable to other insects like mosquitoes or other biting flies. So would wearing a pattern shirt, for instance, protect me from mosquito bites or flies?
So would wearing stripes protect you from mosquito?
For biting flies, I think it is effective to the biting flies, but I'm not sure for the mosquitoes.
We have another question. We have some folks.
Hi, I also have a question for Tomoki. So I'm wondering
Popular.
Yes, I'm wondering because you says if you have the zebra stripe can avoid the cow being bite by the flies, but it is because of the stripe or because of the white color. So have you tried maybe using other colors like red or green? And also, have you tried if you paint the entire cow to be white, is it they're bitten by even fewer flies? Yeah, thank you.
So does the color of the stripe matter?
It's because of the stripes, not color. White and black color is important. Maybe contrast. High contrast is effective.
And what about just plain white?
Plain white. How can I say? More. It's the biting flies likes to landing on plain black or brown uniformity.
I have a question regarding the garlic experiment. How did it affect the baby's immune system whenever the mother ate garlic? And also, what were the significant changes and what were the benefits if there were any? Thank you.
The immune system, Julie maybe can answer this when she gets up here, but we don't know anything about that. There's obviously a very, very vast and kind of complex literature on the health benefits of garlic consumption. And whether this plays into long-term health, these very early experiences in terms of choosing garlic and that can alter immune functions, it seems reasonable. And if I were writing a grant proposal, I would say that this is obviously an important thing we need to study in the future, which I say in every grant proposal. But I don't think we have an answer to that. But there is a real interest in my own research in terms of health-related foods, and that's why I actually asked a question about olive oil. But I think for this, we just really don't know.
I also had a question related to garlic. So I'm Indian, and so our And obviously, like we have garlic all the time. If you told someone, if you like told a pregnant woman she couldn't have garlic, like that would be like torturous. Like don't do that.
Euphemistically?
No. But I remember when I was very young, my mother used to say, I think the English translation is like, you need to learn how to eat spicy food to join like the race of humanity, like as a real person. Like I was like 2 years old. She was like, no, you have to eat the spicy chicken. So I was interested if not garlic, but spicy food, chilies, which a lot of people eat, which is very, very distinct. Did that also, have there been any studies about that and influencing taste?
Luckily, I have somebody here with me that can answer that.
Oh,
I mean, what you said is really common in a lot of cultures, is when the child begins to eat the foods of the family, they're part of that family. And so that transition, and that's defined by a wide variety of different flavor principles. There hasn't been a lot with chili peppers, but I remember one day, it was a long day at work, and at that time I was gonna get a CD. So I went, and Red Hot Chili Peppers released a new song, Taste of Mother's Milk, and I'm like, oh my God. I couldn't believe it.
All right, great. Well, I think the bananas have arrived. And so I'd like to thank the winners, Giacomo, Tomoki, and Gary for participating. Thanks to Mark for setting it up, and thanks to the MIT Museum for hosting us. And I think we're going to take a little break and stick around because session 2 will begin in a little bit. So thank you.
Thank you, first panel. Thank you for the good questions. We will start the next session in about 3 or 4 minutes. So you'll have time if you need to go to the bathroom or something like that, do it, and then we'll get going.
So before we start this second session, we cut off Tomoki as he was preparing to say something, so I want to give him a minute to finish the answer that he had for his last question.
Thank you very much. For repelling biting flies, stripes is better than white. Okay?
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Edmund Golaski. I am a mechanical engineer. I did my bachelor's and my master's here at MIT, and then after that I actually helped the MIT Museum. I was on the editorial committee for Nightwork, which is a history of hacks and pranks at MIT. I suspect they have a copy downstairs if you're plugged. Anyway, I'm here to introduce our second session. So first I'm going to start with Marcin Zająkowski, who, along with his colleague, won for investigating what happens when you tell narcissists, or anyone, that they are intelligent. So if you would give us about a minute on the work.
Okay. So we were interested in what will happen when we tell people that they are smart or not. And we conducted an experiment in which people solved an actual intelligence test. And afterwards, we divided them into 2 groups. In one group, we told that they are above average. The intelligence is higher than average. And in the other group, we told that they are below average. And in the first group, in both groups, we measured how they feel at this moment. And in the first group, they felt more narcissistic, more unique, more special. And in the other group, people felt less narcissistic, less self-confident, and they had more negative mood.
Sorry, you almost got banana. Next, we have Julie Manila, who you already heard from Gary, but she also won for studying what a nursing baby experiences when the mother eats garlic.
And I'm going to go on that theme since you heard so much about the study and how we did it. So it was lactating mothers and their babies. It was within subjects, so it was 2 days of testing. On both days, they avoided garlic, so we knew that the milk was planned. And then we gave them essential oil of garlic. We collected milk, and we had a sensory panel evaluate the milk, so we knew when the milk was flavored. And at the same time, the babies breastfed on demand, and we observed the baby's behavior. They didn't reject mother's milk when it had the garlic flavor in it. They savored it, they nursed longer. And this just led to 3 decades of research of a wide variety of flavors. It's the first way. Food is more than calories. It's a source of identity. It tells us who we are by what the foods our mom ate.
Awesome. Thank you. And finally, Francisco Sanchez is here. He won the Aviation Prize for studying whether ingesting alcohol can impair bats' ability to fly and also their ability to echolocate.
Hi. What we did was we started with a simple thing. All fleshy fruit have sugar, and sugar is fermented, so all fleshy fruit has ethanol. So we thought ethanol at some concentration could attract bats. It didn't. What it did was if the concentration was too high, the bats didn't like it. So we had a bat course where Mariana came, Barry, Carmi, and I got together. We thought, well, maybe ethanol could have some effects like as it happens in humans. So we flew the bats, we gave them some ethanol, and some others we didn't. So they flew slower, and we also recorded them. And it turns out that as happens with humans, their vocalizations, the echolocation signals are impaired. So yeah, when you drink, don't fly.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask you guys to ask each other questions. Marcin, I'm going to put you on the spot first. If you have a question for...
Maybe to Julie. So when mother eats garlic, does often, let's say, and they breastfeed, does this shape the preferences of the child and the adults later on?
Research has shown that they learn to like what they eat, and one of the first ways we learn is what mom eats during pregnancy and lactation. So they'll be more accepting of foods. Obviously, it's the first way, it's not the only way, but it works.
Okay. Julie, we're going to play ping pong, so your question next.
I'm going to ask about the bat. Does tolerance develop if you have, because just like humans, if they were to expose them to alcohol, I know they have the enzyme that breaks down, that alcohol dehydrogenase breaks down the alcohol. Do they learn to tolerate it?
Well, first of all, I don't know of any strict study measuring the content of the enzyme. We suspect it is there because they are eating ethanol pretty much every day. Yeah. But, well, they fly slower, and we couldn't actually track how the animals move, which would be, well, another probably Nobel Prize for next time. But they fly slower. There are many more things we can measure. At this moment, we went only for very simple things.
So, Francisco, do you have a question?
For Julie, definitely. I was wondering, what would a Mexican woman do when she's in India? Would she's in India or, I don't know, Nepal? Would she try to, Mexicans are used for chili food, but in India you will get probably more curry. So, well, and the opposite may be true. Would you try something like that, or what would you expect to happen?
I think it hits on one of the most fundamental things is that when you look at cultures around the world, they're defined by this unique ingredients of foods. And so this first food, the amniotic fluid or mother's milk, is really reflecting that culture into which that baby is born. And like every other animal, it's teaching the baby what foods are out there, what foods mothers are going to most likely feed what they eat. And they're at an advantage because they're more accepting of it. So I think whatever you eat is to really define what that family is, and it's going to give the baby an advantage. So I don't think there's one flavor that's right. It's who you are and who your people are. When you look at America, the last thing that's lost during the immigration into the U.S. is food habits. Language is long before food. And that great importance is placed on it. What you eat when you're pregnant, what you feed your children, define who you are, and when you accept that food, as that question was before, you are part of a group. You are part of that cultural group within the U.S. I mean, I'm third generation Sicilian and Italian American, and the food habits are the strongest. Can't speak a word of Italian, but I know how to eat it.
You have another one?
I love your study too. And I love because it's which way you ask the question. I mean, there always probably was the belief about narcissists and whether they had high IQs or not. But what does your findings have implication for parenting behavior of you're so wonderful, or school practices that tell children what their IQs are and praises those that have high and low?
So first thing is that the notion of intelligence in everyday usage has, for me, the study shows that it has some narcissistic aspect, I would say. So saying to someone you are intelligent or you are stupid, let's say, has huge consequences, and we need to be careful using this. But it's it's very typical for our language, using the intellectual words. For instance, when you are angry at someone, I think that the first that comes to your mind is that what a stupid person, right? But the study shows that it somehow entails some narcissistic feelings. So my first advice is that we need to use it carefully to saying that you are intelligent or not intelligent. And the other, if you're asking about education and parenting, is that it's good if our praises are somehow related to reality. And some studies show that if they are not, the parents might develop some narcissistic traits in children. So at least a little bit more adequately perception of our children.
I guess a question I had actually for you was, did you get into how long these narcissistic senses persisted after you gave people either praise or criticism?
Actually, no, but I suppose it might be a few minutes or something. We can imagine a situation where we sometimes feel narcissistic because might be a state. For instance, imagine a situation where we win something or we achieve something. We might feel that we are so special, we are better than others. But it lasts like few minutes, maybe hours. Typically.
Thank you. They gave me a microphone, so I'm going to feel this for a while. Any other questions that you guys have?
For Mucin, you are now very famous in Poland, you were telling me, which is very good. I'm glad this prize has helped you. Has anybody from the test you ran called you back to say, hey, you told me I was very smart?
No, but today I received an email from an anonymous person who's saying, I don't care about my IQ. And I don't know why I did it, I received it, but someone just sent it to me. I was okay. I have a question to Julie, because I'm wondering, did the mothers eat raw or cooked garlic?
So Gary and I are both experimentalists at heart, and so the joy is in how do you ask the question, how do you design the study. So we used essential oil of garlic, so we knew the exact dose that was given to the women.
So, Francisco, I want to dig in a little more on your study. So if I understand correctly, you timed the flight, and that was how you determined whether the bats were impaired or no. Is that correct?
Yep, okay. We basically put only 2 places where they could land. Well, basically one where they could launch and then where they could land. So they had not many choices. I mean, we had to train them. They had to learn a bit. So they were pretty much used to, okay, here I land, here I can, okay. So we had a video, and with the video, we know exactly when they leave the place and when they land. So they calculate their speed like that.
Was there difference in how they echolocated the vocalizations they made?
Yeah, they actually, I mean, Rosetus is a bat. They are bats from the old world. Most of the old world bats that are they are fruit bats, they do not echolocate. Only the Rosetus genus. And what they do is that they make clicks with the tongue, like. Okay, so yeah, I work with bats. So if you have a regular, a bat that has not ingested ethanol will sound something like, and it sends pairs of bats. But if it's drunk, it may sound like. So not exactly like that, but just to show an example. Yeah, it's nice.
Now, if we told the bats they were good at flying, do we think that would...
Well, we are working on that. That's for the next Ig Nobel.
You guys have anything else for each other?
So, Francisco, is the mechanism similar to humans? I mean, the biological mechanism behind it?
Well, we assume it's the same. We are mammals anyway, so the basic biochemistry we think is pretty similar. Actually, the original idea that was thought by Robert Dudley was that the origin of our alcoholism is rooted in these frugivorous origins of humans, or primates. Actually, some people have thought that some people use rats for testing for alcoholisms, but well, they are kind of far from the tree, and bats may be even better because of the similarities in the original food, probably. Well, I mean, we still have a lot of work to do, but yeah, we assume everything. Still, there are a lot of things we don't know in wild animals.
Very cool. Anything else from you guys before we turn it over to the audience?
Julie, are you still testing different flavors or adding different kinds of things for the mothers to give to their babies?
I mean, the work led to randomized controlled trials and how infants learn about food and also children. Right now, my main focus is on sweet taste, which is an inborn preference the children have, and trying to look at how can we lower their preference for or acceptance of lower sugar foods, because it's a really big public health issue right now. So it's gone from looking at women's health and lactation, but also to looking at what are evidence-based strategies to improve the diets of children.
I have one other set of questions before we turn it over to the audience, which is to ask each of you, is there a immediate extension that you're interested in doing to further investigate this work?
And I think that there's no reason, because we already won the Ig Nobel Prize.
Excellent. Julie, do you have anything?
No other answer is appropriate.
Okay. Actually, I did have one other question I did want to ask. Is there a point in the research process, and if any of you have thoughts on this, is there a point in the process where you start to get an inkling that this might be funny?
Well, we never did. I mean, for us, it was more about how we maybe detect some ecological impacts, how this ethanol could affect interactions between frugivorous and the plants they visit. And probably, I don't know, somebody in the way will find something that will link to alcoholism or alcohol consumption. But we all thought it was a very serious thing. So I'm sorry to disappoint.
Either of you? Okay. So now let's toss it out to the audience. We have microphones. Go ahead.
Hi there. I just wanted to, it's for you. The food or the flavoring, and it influences how the child likes or dislikes the breast milk. Is it actually about the taste, or is it like preloading the microbiome so that they are more prone to being able to digest something? Meaning, is it more a flavor thing, or is it more a more survival aspect?
I mean, again, this is just not from this study, but you learn to like what you experience. And so it's from one aspect of it is the sensory. So you can provide a child with repeated exposure, let them taste the food, just taste, once every day for 8 to 10 days, and they'll be more accepting of that food. And so there's a big sensory component to it, because how a food tastes is one of the primary reasons why we accept a food or reject it. One interesting thing about mother's milk, and again, all this research is based on animal model, and then we applied it to humans, is you can never form a taste aversion if that taste was delivered in mother's milk. There's something so powerful about that interaction that taste aversions don't develop.
When you're ready.
So, did it get passed down over like even more generations than just like Ig-2? Like, did it get passed down over like 3 or 4 generations?
Is that the food preferences? Or what is your...
Yeah, the food preferences.
The food preferences.
Did it like get passed down over any more generations?
I think that what we know is that it's the first step. It's the first step mothers teach their young what foods they're eating. And then you learn by watching your parents eat, by what your friends eat. We're omnivores. We're very successful animals. So we just don't imprint on the diets of our mother during pregnancy and lactation. So it's a learning process. It's a lot easier to learn when you're young because the brain is so plastic that it's open to learning about foods. But it's the start of anything. I think why you see the generational effect is because foods give us our identity. They tell you who you are, what culture you belong to. And so that's why it's passed on from generation. Great question.
Thank you. Right here.
Yeah, so about the narcissism one, is it possible to mitigate the effect if you first prime them with some kind of lesson, like to have a feedback loop, like to be aware of what they're telling you and to kind of tone it down? Like, kind of like, oh, don't mind what other people tell you, kind of lesson before they tell you.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it might work. But what I found also, it's because sometimes people ask me, okay, it's for intelligence, but probably for any other characteristic, human attribute. But I think that it's not. It's that intelligence became very powerful attribute, and we care about it a lot. So even, I would predict that even though someone warns you that don't care what they say or something, people would still be sensitive toward feedback about their intelligence, about their intellectual functioning. Maybe another attribute would be physical attractiveness, but I don't want to study this. I think it would be too difficult and too problematic, but I think that intelligence is interesting because we have an objective criterion within real test. But I think it became very, very powerful, and maybe even we cannot avoid it even saying something like that.
Thank you.
Hi, can I have a question inspired by the bat experiment? It's a bit tangential, but with like animals, do they peer pressure each other into drinking?
We don't know. It might. We did all experiments with a colony of bats. So there are still. If there is somebody interested, definitely we should try more things of what happens in the field. But what we are expecting is that we know that if the bats are in really bad condition, they will be more willing to take some ethanol-rich food. At least that's one thing. And the more bats you have around, more competitors, then it's more likely that you will get into that condition. So I'm not sure whether that's probably not social pressure in the way we humans might understand, but some density-dependent effects may be there.
Thank you. In the back, Mike.
Hi, I wanted to ask about the bats. What's like the equivalent amount of like alcohol that the bat consumed, like in regards to a person?
How many bat drinks?
Well, our bats were about 150 grams, so I'm not really sure. But if the food, I mean, if you have the food that has about 1% ethanol, which is a mild beer, they don't like it very much. Yeah, if it's 2%, they definitely hate it. I mean, they drink just a tiny bit. So, yeah, they are more sensitive, I think, than we are, probably because exactly social effects that we have been kind of, well, in some cultures we learn ethanol is a very good thing. Well, in the past, it may have been good probably taking ethanol when you had no drinking water of good quality. But probably at this point where we are in history is probably more the social effects that we have, that we like things like, well, wine is already 12, 13%. I cannot even imagine an experiment with bats like that. And we will never go in vodka or tequila. So.
Well, they would have a nutritional advantage if they ate the fruit, right?
Yeah, the ethanol is quite energy rich.
And
so,
plus because they ate the fruit.
Definitely. I mean, if you take little ethanol, it's very good as long as you can metabolize it. So if you take some ethanol, yeah, each molecule of ethanol has the double of energy that one of glucose. So it's very good business. But then when you start taking a bit too much and you cannot metabolize it, it goes into the brain, and then, well, they fly slower and they start making funny clicks.
All right, where is the microphone in the back?
It's over here.
Perfect.
So this is another bat question, and I was wondering, since it goes hand in hand with a language study I heard about the other day, so when you have bats that are slightly inebriated, slightly drunk, are they actually better talking to their comrades in different colonies or not?
I think he's preparing for the next Ig Nobel, so keep an eye on that guy. We have no idea. I mean, we did some simple experiments. We flew them to test whether, I mean, when we give them the food, we notice they don't like it, so we have the feeling there is something going on. But only till we put them in the cage, and we're in the room, and they fly slower, and their echolocation is impaired, then we know there is some inebriation. But we didn't go farther enough, so maybe this kind of conversation will ignite something over there, and somebody else will do, or maybe one day we will.
Who has the microphone? Go ahead.
So I had a question for the psychology experiment. Did the reactions of people to what group they put in change at all based on like what their real intelligence was? Like if you put somebody who had like a very high measured intelligence into like the dumber group, I guess, would they like have a different reaction to somebody who had like a lower measured intelligence?
I don't know. We didn't test it. Although some people because it was a real intelligence test, and when we debriefed it, we told them that it was fake feedback. It has nothing to do with their real intelligence. Some people said, "Oh, I knew that it's not a real intelligence test." But I don't know how would react people with who have really high intelligence. We didn't test it.
Hi, I have a question for Francisco about the bats. They were flying slower. I'm curious if you had any sense of whether that was because they were just physically unable to fly as fast, or if it was maybe even like driven by some awareness of just their own ability to control themselves, as well as they would like to safely fly at normal speed, and so they sort of intentionally slowed down. Do you have any sense of where the origin of the slowing down might have been?
Okay, we are here again guessing. Ethanol diffuses really easily in water. Blood is mainly water. So as soon as you cannot metabolize that ethanol, it will go into the blood and it will reach every part of your body, including the brain. So what we are guessing is that once it reaches the brain, well, there are some motor skills that may be impaired, and the more ethanol you get, well, I mean, today is Saturday, you go to any bar and you may find some examples a bit more, well, clear about the matter.
I was curious about what specifically changed in the behavior of the people who were told they were, scored highly or less highly. In particular, were there any changes in social behavior, maybe more gregarious, more social, or more antisocial?
We tested just their feelings. They reported how they feel afterwards. But I would assume that they might feel like more, let's say, maybe a little bit more dominant. I mean, feeling better than others for a while. That believe that maybe I'm better in some way.
Again, for the intelligence study, have you thought about, or have others done something similar and retested whether their scores improved after being told they had done well, like taking it again later?
Could you repeat it?
If one were to give another intelligence test at a time later, would it affect their scores how they had been told originally?
We didn't do this, but I think that it shouldn't affect the score. Intelligence is measured by the maximal performance. So what people can do, they try the hardest. So I don't think it should affect it.
I think we're getting bananaed.
Get the.
Okay. I want to thank our panelists again. If you can give them a round of applause. And a big thanks to Mark, of course, for organizing all of this, and for the MIT Museum for hosting us.
We thank our panelists in both sessions and our compares, to use a fancy word, and all of you for asking questions. Thank you for coming. We are now collecting nominations for the 2026 Ig Nobel Prizes. If you know of somebody or a team that has done something that would make anyone, anywhere, immediately laugh and then start thinking, send us a nomination, please. There are going to be several more sessions like this in other countries in coming months. So if you're traveling to London at the end of October, come to the session there if you like. Love to see you. A week later in Berlin, there will be a similar session. In January, one of our bananas is organizing a session in Tokyo at the Mirai-Kan Museum. And there may also be a session in Paris. We're still trying to get the pieces together on that. And thank you very much to the MIT Museum for hosting this. Thanks.